with that, let's jump right into this. The first one I'm going to start with is chart analysis. And again, this goes back to the fact that as technical analysts, I see a lot of traders, they don't stick to the rules that they place for themselves, right? You might have indicators that you like to use with regards to trading, but what we do as human beings is that if the indicators that we use doesn't quite confirm the views that we might have on an individual stock, so someone gives you a stock idea, or maybe you come up with your own idea and you think that you're bullish on the stock, but you look at your own indicators and your own strategy, and those indicators maybe are not as bullish. What do? Sometimes we, as human beings, what we'll do is we'll say, let me look at a different indicator, see if it tells me something else. And what we do is we just end up finding other indicators until it confirms our view and say, oh, okay, great. Let me go ahead and trade it because this other indicator confirmed my view. But we're not sticking to our rules when we do that. And if you're guilty of that, please type 1 into the chat window. I know I'm guilty of it. I know many of you are guilty of that. So this is one way that you can potentially use ChatGPT to avoid that and be a lot more objective about your rules and a lot more objective of your trading. So this specific prompt that I have here, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to put it into ChatGPT. I'm going to copy and paste this into ChatGPT. I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so this prompt I'm going to post into ChatGPT, and it's really important that when you use ChatGPT, there are multiple models. There's ChatGPT 4.0, which is the newest model. That's what we're going to discuss during today's session. There's ChatGPT 4, which was the previous most advanced model, and there's ChatGPT 3.5. 3.5 previously was the only one you had access to for free if you didn't have a paid account. ChatGPT 4 was the one that you got access to if you were paid. It was a little faster. It did more complex text. It certainly wrote text a little bit better. But ChatGPT 4.0 is available for free for everyone. There are limitations in terms of the number of messages that you can send if you are using the free version. If you're using the paid version, there's no limit as to how much you can use ChatGPT 4.0 for. But even if you're on a free account for ChatGPT, you can at least start using this and testing it out and see if it's worth the $20 a month for the paid version, which I certainly find far more valuable than the $20 a month that this service costs. So let's look at my prompt for trading. And this prompt is basically engineered as a way to help me stick to my rules. And I just put together a fairly simple set of rules for analyzing each chart. I'm using 2 indicators. I'm using a 26-period moving exponential moving average, and then I'm using a 20-period CCI. Many of you know that those are indicators that that I use quite often. If you watched some of my sessions earlier this month, you'll see kind of why I use these specific indicators. And it doesn't matter which indicators you use. What you just have to do is write down the process by which you are using these indicators. And just the process of writing it down is a really important process for improving as a trader, because if you're not able to articulate what your strategy is by writing it down, then I would argue that you don't really have a strategy until you can write it down in plain English, what your analysis or what your strategy is. Then you don't really have a strategy. So here I wrote a simple one, basically saying I use a 26-period moving average and a 20-period CCI. And if the stock is above the moving average and the CCI is positive, I consider this stock in a bullish trend. Vice versa, if it's below the 26-period moving average and the CCI is negative, I consider that as a bearish trend. And if the CCI is negative, but the stock is above its moving average, that's a sell signal, and vice versa. If the CCI is bullish and it's below the moving average, that's a buy signal. So it doesn't really matter what the strategy is, right? That's just a sample strategy that I'm giving you. But the idea is that you want to write your own or take this prompt, but customize it to your own strategy. Whatever indicators you'd like to use, whether you use a 50-day moving average or a 21-period moving average or a 200-day moving average, whatever indicators you use, whatever RSI, MACD, stochastics you use, you can customize it to how you want to interpret the chart. What you wanted to define is what constitutes as bullish, what constitutes as bearish, maybe even what constitutes as neutral, and what constitutes as a buy or sell signal, right? Those are the things that you want to articulate to ChatGPT. And once you're able to do that, you just have to do it once. Once you do that, what you do is you simply upload a chart with each of the time you prompt this. So here I'm going to upload one chart. It doesn't really matter what the chart is, but I've just uploaded a chart from Options Play. I've defined what my strategy is, and I can simply send this off for ChatGPT. And what it will do is it basically analyzes the chart for me, and it'll tell me what the moving average is telling me, what the CCI is telling me, and when you combine the two, what my views are. So in this particular case, as you can see, it looks at the moving average, and it says that the current price is below the moving average, indicating a bearish trend. The CCI is below zero, which suggests a bearish sentiment. So conclusion is based on your trading rules, the current view of this chart should be bearish, as both the stock is below the 20-period moving average and the CCI is below zero. There are no signals for new buy or sell signals under the criteria at this time. So what this means is that the chart is clearly bearish, but I don't have any buy signals. So maybe that might mean that, okay, this is a bearish view on a specific strategy, but I'm not able to generate a specific buy or sell signal at the very moment. And once you've prompted ChatGPT with your specific strategy, you can save this specific chat. And next time you can basically upload a new chart. So what I've done is basically I went to Options Play. Let's say I pull up, I don't know, let's look at Goldman Sachs, for example, right? It doesn't matter what chart you use, as long as you have the specific indicators that you use as part of your process. So I have the 26-period EMA and I have the 20-period CCI here. All I have to do is basically take a screenshot of the chart, as I've done here. I go to ChatGPT. I will upload that new screenshot that I just took. And I'll say, help me analyze this new chart. So I don't have to, once you make the prompt once you articulate to ChatGPT what your strategy is once, that's it. You just have to upload new charts from there going forward. And what this will do is basically take any new charts and reinterpret it for you. So as you can see, this is telling me that based on your trading rules, the current view is that a new sell signal is present. Because the stock is above the 26-period moving average, but the CCI is below zero, right? So these are the rules that I had set for myself, and it's telling me that it's generated a new fresh sell signal. So if I came into this saying that, hey, I think this is a bearish trade, I can simply use this to keep me honest on my strategy, make sure that it's actually giving me the signals according to my own rules and validating my bias that I currently have on this individual trade. So it takes a little bit of effort to start off with by articulating what your overall strategy is, and you might have to do a couple of prompts to make sure you fully get it correct. You basically enter it, and as you can see, it gives you a full audit of each indicator and what each indicator is telling you. And this allows you to see if your prompts that you've put in as far as what you set for your own rules if it's interpreting it the right way, because it's not just saying, oh, it's bullish or it's bearish. It's breaking it down indicator by indicator for you, telling you based on each indicator what its interpretation is. And then you can actually have a combination of saying, if these indicators do this, give me a bullish signal. If these indicators do that, give me a bearish signal, vice versa. The world is your oyster as far as how far you can take this. I've obviously given you a very simple setup and a very simple example, but the idea is that you want to take a few minutes, try to articulate what your technical strategy is or how you use technical analysis to interpret your charts. Do it once, and now going forward, every single time you want to analyze a chart, you just go to your platform, take a screenshot of the chart, make sure you have the indicators that are part of your strategy on that chart, because obviously ChatGPT is not able to use this data and figure out what the indicators are going to look like. You have to include the indicators, but once you do that, it's able to give you that conclusion.